someone that understands the whole concept of the different ratios prepare like a small paragraph
Mhm.
for it before the vote, in order
Yeah,
for the people to understand what this vote actually means, and
right,
don't just see money or something like
right.
that,
No, totally
and
agree.
then present the vote underneath.
Yeah, we could do sort of the question, like let's say we create the vote. It would be question and then below question, background. And we can write up, hey, we believe we believe that as this is a fork of Shimmer, Shimmer holders should be weighted a little bit more than IOTA holders as well. We believe without supporting IOTA holders, even if Shimmer's holders get a larger drop, there'll probably not be as much price appreciation than if we include IOTA holders.
Yeah, I
So
think it could be, distilled reasonably. Here's the reason we're going shimmer heavy, and here are some points, some options. As always, having shimmer being more rewarded than iota. Also, one of the obvious reasons is everyone who owns shimmer probably owns iota, but the reverse is not always true. So, and again, we can describe that in a single sentence and then offer no more than three choices, just to make that. I didn't. I did say certain decisions need to be made by this meeting each week, but I I don't think I don't think we need to stop a vote if we don't need a decision to be made now. We
yeah,
can't
yeah.
deploy immediately anyway. It'll still be a couple of weeks or more before that deployment and setup can be done. So it doesn't hurt at all to put it out to
Don't
vote within the parameters set by the people who show up, right?
the only delay is going to be that we're not going to get people to pay attention to TAN until we can say, here's a list, you're going to get this much TAN tokens based on your address.
Oh,
And we've
no
kind of seen
question.
that
But
already.
there are a handful of people who do pay attention. We do always get, I mean, we only get, six, I think, is the most number of people at these meetings since I've been paying attention. And sometimes we get 20 or more votes. So there are still some people who are paying attention, even though it's not many.
I would at least suggest we keep to these 70-30, 75-25, 80-20, just to avoid like kind of the last time. If we do 5 choices with more polarized, then we may have to run the poll a second time if it becomes between
Yeah, I wouldn't
two.
suggest 5 choices, and I don't think
Yeah,
it should be too different. I think 3 is enough, but
yeah,
3 around the one that's overwhelmingly favored by the 6 of us. So around the 70-30. So it could be 60-40, 70-30, 80-20, or it could be 65-35, 70-30, and 75-25. I'm inclined to go 10% each way, but 5% each way might be okay. But I think only 3 choices, with the center one being 70-30.
okay. Um,
There's something else
yeah,
as well. Regarding that, I fully agree with everything that you guys said. One thing that we really need to take into consideration is that when we speak as outside the governance, like to the general public, or general community, it would be great if we also speak with actual facts, because this will also attract the interest that we seek for TAN as well,
mm,
and it will be handled different from the IOTA Foundation, that like speaking, presenting data, facts, etc., and then choosing otherwise, like what happened with Rebased. If we actually speak and present facts or some kind of data, but at the present moment we don't have data. If we present
right,
facts like actual statements that are true based on some kind of conditions, it will also track the whole interest we seek, that the TAN
right,
project is actually serious.
right,
It's not
right.
like a side hustle.
No, I think you guys are absolutely right, and I think we've been really good at trying to include everyone. So yeah, let's do it. Let's just do 60-40, 70-30, 80-20, if anyone's not opposed to that. I think that just is cleaner than 65. What would that be? 35, et cetera, et cetera. So bill poster, if no one's against that, let's say we go with a 60-40, 70-30, 80-20. Maybe once you write it up, let me just see how it's articulated. And then, then we'll get in the vote, and hopefully we have a definitive answer next week. And then if it's pretty clear, the answer, then Saphir can start. I mean, he can really start building the spreadsheet and whatnot. Just has to change the numbers at the end of the day. Take it easy, Mr. Storm. Thank you for joining as always and participating. And Bill Posters is asking, Edward, are you using EVM for your game, or is it straight to L1?
Yeah, I'm using L1 at the moment. For those of you who don't know, I actually have a grant with the Tangle Community Treasury, which is an interesting promotion, and it actually hasn't, I don't think it's ever been done before. Trappist 1 is going to give away Shimmer, a donation of $5,000 worth of Shimmer, which would be about 25 million coins, in Trappist 1 fairly soon. I'm developing it on L1, and basically you go register for free, you get into the game, it doesn't cost you anything, you complete quests and you get Shimmer delivered to an in-game wallet that you can transfer out to your own wallet. That's all on L1. I haven't found, in Unity circles, I haven't found an EVM SDK that works very well. Maybe one exists now, but I had no end of trouble with EVM SDKs, and we ended up having to MacGyver an SDK of our own, partly using ChainSafe. It was a fiasco. L1 is also the SDK that I wrote for Unity for Shimmer and IOTA L1, which I have confirmed already works on the TAN network.
Look, on EVM, you can literally take code from all over the crypto projects and literally fork them, make a new website, white label it yourself, and launch. And most of the DeFi platforms are just simply copy and pastes. I mean, there's no special thing to it. And that's Shimmer C. Shimmer C then just they had their other one. I can't remember what it was called. And even Cappy's thing. I mean, they're all forks, versus L1 where you have to like literally build it from the ground up, recoding it because there are no really DeFi L1s. What is built already, and if the code is still open source, is Sooniverse. I mean, they had a DeFi platform on L1. It was, in my experience, very clunky, kind of slow. You're definitely not going to be able to really trade at a high volume there or speed. But the point is that it's built. NFT Marketplace was built on L1. But again, there was NFT marketplaces on EVM, and it's literally, again, just copy and paste. I mean, this is generally my understanding. Once you have EVM, and it's essentially the same thing. There was some quirks with Shimmer. I know there was like even a error at the 10th decimal digit, so there was actually rounding, and in crypto, even though it's not. It would never make a difference to be financially viable. Like you could never steal tokens. Due to this error, there was actually a slight inflation because it would round up. And we're talking like, I'm just taking it out of the head, but 1/1000th of a penny, being inflated on a daily basis, which even over 100 years would never amount to anything. But these were some of the faults that, took some time. And then there was, certain little things. I remember, what was that one? I can't remember. There was one DeFi and they just couldn't get it to work. It works perfectly on Ethereum EVM, but when they came into Shimmer EVM, there was something that just was not working. And it was literally the same as Deeper Finance, but Deeper was able to solve it, but they really couldn't. And it was political. There was no help from the IF because, anyways. But I think there's that aspect. So, and then IOTA Heroes, I saw IOTA Heroes in L1. Is not IOTA Heroes using EVM, or were they originally based on L1? Saphir, do you know? Because Infernal
I think
Uprising.
they were using EVM. Yeah, and like I know because I was one of the core team members on Infernal Uprising, it does use EVM. Actually, we had contracted Edward and his team to help build it, but there's nothing that forces it to always be EVM, just because the
Got
nature
it.
of games having this central database anyway for rules to play the game. You could, in theory, have the entire game data anchored in L1. You're just not going to have a marketplace to buy and trade cards, which is what like we wanted to do with Infernal Uprising. But I would imagine, and I'm saying
let
this
me
is
just,
only
can I
someone
just
with a little bit of
chime
web
in
dev
there for,
experience. Yeah.
let me just say something about that, Sophia, with regard to L1 and how it can work. One of the points you made about that, that games have their own sort of special thing. I'm getting a better handle as I'm building out this Shimmer giveaway, the Shimmer airdrop in TRAPPIST-1, on how games could, and to my mind, should implement cryptocurrency and crypto technology. One of the things that I've been trying very hard to avoid is a constant requirement to swap out of the game and approve every transaction. And you can't avoid that if you just tell a player to connect an existing wallet that has all their Bitcoin and all their whatever else is on their wallet. You can't expect that of them to just auto approve everything. And so we are using back-end wallets specifically created for each user. The user has access to the wallet, and if the user wants the mnemonic and all of that, then the user can get that. But initially, it will just be a back-end, seamless, invisible process because people want to play a game when they play a game. And so they don't want to be swapping out and back and forth. They can turn it into a real wallet by taking the mnemonic and connecting it to Bloom or whatever. But initially, it will be invisible to users unless they wish to become technically connected to their wallet rather than just in the game. And because there are no smart contracts on L1 or TAN L1, what we're doing is we're setting up an API in Python, connecting through PHP, but primarily Python for all the on-chain work, where we do those transactions, right? We give out quest rewards and things like that, just in Python rather than doing it in Rust and making the smart contract code open source. It's ultimately the same effect, where we're transferring files, we're minting an NFT, we're doing all these things, but we're just doing it in Python using closed source. And that's not, I don't think that's an unreasonable position for a game to take, because games are not open source for obvious reasons. Having said that, there's no reason